Welcome to the Full Moon Film Buff, episode 169. We are going to talk about Hybrid from 2007. I watched this on Amazon Prime. I had not seen this before. A real quick housekeeping note. After a dive into my video analytics, it's pretty clear that I lose most of my audience, those that I do lose, during the section covering the cast. And I get it. It's the least fun, most work section to write. So, from this point forward, I am going to be a little more choosy about who gets covered. Actors and actresses who are portraying werewolves, for sure. Others, only if they interest me. Let me know in the comments if you're bothered by this. I did have reasons for covering the cast, the bigger chunk of the cast, in the beginning, so I could be talked back into it. So let's start with the prominent crew and cast. You can find a much more complete credit list in the show notes. The film was directed by Yelena Lenskaya, written by Arnie Olson, with SFX assistant being Tim J. Langevin. Yelena Lenskaya began her entertainment career as an editor before switching to directing movies. Her directorial career began with Might As Well Live in 2000 and includes The Cult, Hidden Places, and The Santa Incident. She also directed for Law & Order SVU. Arnie Olson's notable works include Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, All Dogs Go to Heaven 2, Red Scorpion, and Cop and a Half. Tim Langevin had a short 4-year career spanning 7, mostly TV movies. His highest profile projects include My Winnipeg and Mr. Soul. The cast includes Justine Bateman as Andrea Hewlett, Tinsel Corey as Lydia Lambert, and Corey Monteith as Aaron Skates. Justine Bateman has a few ties to other werewolf movies. She gained fame as Mallory Keaton on Family Ties, where she co-starred with Michael J. Fox, who was the original Teen Wolf. Her portrayal there earned her 2 Emmy Award and 1 Golden Globe nominations. In addition, her younger brother, Jason Bateman, starred in Teen Wolf 2. Justine Bateman is best known as an actress, but has successfully transitioned into filmmaking, writing, and producing. Her acting work includes Family Ties, Satisfaction, Men Behaving Badly, The TV Set, Desperate Housewives, and Californication. Her feature film directorial debut, Violet, premiered in 2021. Justine holds a degree from UCLA in computer science and digital media management. She is the author of the books Fame, The Hijacking of Reality, and Face, 1 Square Foot of Skin. During a hiatus from the entertainment business, she established a clothing design company in 2000. Tinsel Corey is an actress and singer-songwriter, best known for portraying Emily Young in the Twilight Saga film series. She gained early recognition on True Calling and later appeared in Steven Spielberg's Emmy-winning miniseries Into the West. On television, Corey appeared in series such as Yellowstone, Longmire, Z Nation, and The Young and the Restless. Corey Monteith made his acting debut in the television series Stargate Atlantis, with other guest spots in Smallville and Supernatural. His first recurring role was on Kyle XY. Monteith blew up on the Fox series Glee as Finn Hudson, playing the male lead of the Glee Club and the quarterback of the William McKinley High School. Corey began experiencing substance abuse problems at the age of 13. He died of a drug overdose at age 31. I give this one a cautious recommendation. Know what you're getting into here. It's a B-movie horror film with a sci-fi twist. It's not groundbreaking, but it is competent, and truth be told, I've been missing that in the last few films we've watched. It has some interesting ideas about identity and what makes us human. This was the 10th movie of SyFy's Man-Eater series, a collection of creature features that often blended horror with environmental or scientific themes that eventually reached 28 movies. These are natural horror films, which focus on natural forces, typically plants or animals posing a threat to humanity. Think sharks, spiders, or bears. You kind of get to a weird area if you include intelligent sharks, giant spiders, or bears on cocaine. So let's cover the synopsis. We start watching a wolf pack coordinate to separate a bison from the herd and take it down. Dr. Andrea Hewlett searches for a human test subject for the cross-species transplant program that she and her team have pioneered. Lydia Lambert invites Grandpa Claude, an indigenous medicine man, to speak to her first grade class. Aaron Skates loses his sight in an industrial accident. Dr. Weber suggests Aaron for the experimental eye transplant. Andrea gives him the eyes of a wolf in the first human test trial. Immediately, his eyesight improves. He can see in the dark, which makes sense. But his hearing has improved as well, which doesn't. He's also hallucinating 2 wolves fighting each other. Andrea also comes under pressure from the Canadian military, who intend to weaponize this technology. Derek Garland is her military liaison and is in charge of security. Lydia helps Aaron escape the medical facility. Aaron craves raw meat and hallucinates bison hunts. His strength and reflexes are also enhanced, something that he demonstrates by taking down 3 rugby players in a bar fight. Derek and the military are hot on Aaron's tracks. He narrowly avoids them at his apartment. Aaron and Lydia hide out at his friend Ash's apartment. He confesses his violent urges. She tells him that this is because he is rejecting part of himself. Andrea researches lycanthropy and thinks that Aaron is experiencing clinical lycanthropy as part of a psychological rejection of the transplant. Aaron breaks into the Manitoba Zoo, where they have a rare white bison calf. He also visits the wolf enclosure, where he has a vision of himself as a white wolf. He almost kills a security guard with his bare hands. Lydia and Ash find him, and she urges him to accept his inner animal. The military bursts in, nabs him, and tells Lydia and Ash to stay out of it. Back at the lab, they run all kinds of tests to determine what's wrong. Aaron snaps and hurts the psychiatrist examining him. Andrea tells him essentially the same thing that Lydia did, that he's hurting himself by fighting the transplant. Aaron fights off security, jumps down 4 floors, and escapes again. He tracks down Lydia, and they make love. Afterwards, Aaron is ready to integrate his 2 halves. Grandpa leads him in a fireside medicine ritual. Aaron heads into the woods to meditate. In the morning, the military goes into the forest after him. Either Aaron can actually turn into a wolf now, or a wolf pack is helping him. Oh, it's the latter, cool. With the help of his newfound pack, Aaron takes care of the military men. Andrea shows up to witness his final acceptance of both parts of himself. The last thing we see is Aaron running with his new pack. Aside from the eye transplant surgery, the transformation elements in Hybrid are more psychological than physical. This sets it apart from traditional werewolf films. Monteith simply wears contact lenses and runs around bare-chested most of the movie. Rather than full lycanthropic changes, we see Aaron adopt wolf-like behaviors and instincts. The film focuses on the internal struggle between human consciousness and animal instinct, making the horror more cerebral than visceral. Now, while this isn't a traditional werewolf film, Hybrid does draw from lycanthropic traditions by exploring the integration of human and beast. It updates classic werewolf themes for the modern era by grounding the transformation in medical science rather than supernatural curses. This scientific approach reflects 2000's anxieties about genetic manipulation and bioengineering. However, it also strips out the reverse transformation, any supernatural weaknesses, or the possibility of passing the condition along unintentionally. While Hybrid operates as a creature feature about dubious medical experimentation, it uses its premise to explore deeper questions about human identity. Through Aaron, who receives wolf eyes in a desperate medical procedure, the film examines whether humanity is defined by our physical form, consciousness, or something that bridges both. As Aaron's new wolf eyes alter his vision and his behavior, the film asks us to consider what truly makes us human. Hybrid puts a fundamental question front and center. Are we our bodies, or are we our minds? Aaron retains his human form except for the transplanted wolf eyes, yet this single biological change immediately alters how he perceives the world, which makes sense, it's his eyes. The enhanced vision doesn't just help him see in the dark, it changes how he processes his environment and relates to reality. If Aaron's personality changes because of altered biology, what does this say about the rest of us? Our sense of self and moral choices may depend more on our physical form than we'd like to admit. The film shows how physical changes cascade into psychological ones. Aaron's wolf eyes don't just change what he sees, they change how he feels about what he sees, altering his emotional responses and his decision-making process. These wolf eyes serve as a gateway to primal instincts that modern society suppressed. The enhanced vision connects Aaron to predatory drives, both foreign and strangely familiar. His struggle reflects the broader human experience of managing competing desires between immediate gratification and long-term cooperation, between individual advantage and group harmony. The movie suggests our animal nature isn't just evolutionary history, but an active force shaping contemporary behavior. Rather than presenting reason as humanity's defining characteristic, Hybrid suggests rational thought may be fragile, easily overwhelmed by primitive responses. Aaron's difficulty maintaining control shows how quickly logical thinking crumbles when biological drives intensify. But here's the key insight. Aaron's enhanced predatory instincts don't make him inhuman. They amplify characteristics that society typically suppresses. His increased aggression and territorial behavior represent extreme versions of normal human impulses. The film suggests the difference between civilized and savage behavior may be one of degree rather than kind. If Aaron's transformation reveals civilization's fragility, then viewers must confront the possibility that their own civilized behavior is equally precarious. The film forces us to consider how we might behave if our inhibitions were removed. Moving on, Hybrid continues the long tradition of mad scientist narratives from Frankenstein to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But unlike its Gothic predecessors, this film grounds its exploration of scientific hubris in contemporary medical realities. Using organ transplantation as its framework, Hybrid examines the ethical boundaries of medical intervention and the consequences of transcending natural human limitations through science. The film's central procedure, transplanting wolf eyes into a human patient, serves as a powerful metaphor for humanity's drive to improve upon nature, regardless of the moral consequences. What distinguishes Hybrid from typical creature features is its emphasis on ethical implications rather than just spectacular horror effects. The movie explores the complex motivations driving medical research and the unforeseen consequences when good intentions collide with inadequate understanding. Dr. Andrea Hewlett's experimental surgery attempts to transcend the boundaries that define human existence. Like Frankenstein, both scientists have noble intentions. Frankenstein wants to conquer death. Hewlett aims to restore sight. Both cross ethical boundaries and create beings that exist in liminal space, neither fully human nor capable of finding acceptance in normal society. However, Hybrid's focus on organ transplantation connects to real medical practices that audiences can understand, making the ethical questions immediate and relevant. While Frankenstein's methods seem fantastical today, Hewlett's procedure extends modern medical techniques, suggesting that these moral dilemmas are less hypothetical than ever. Hybrid's most sophisticated aspect is its nuanced portrayal of Dr. Hewlett's motivations, which resists simple categorization as noble or villainous. Unlike stereotypical mad scientists who are driven by ego, Hewlett appears genuinely motivated by a desire to help her patient and advance medical knowledge. Her decision stems from legitimate medical concerns. Faced with a patient who has lost sight and lacks viable human donor tissue, she pursues an unconventional solution. Her motivation aligns with fundamental medical principles, the duty to heal. But this becomes complicated by questions of informed consent. Aaron never agreed to be a guinea pig. The film questions whether individual patient care and broader scientific advancement can be reconciled when experimental treatment makes patients as much test subjects as they are beneficiaries. The movie also explores how therapeutic discoveries can be appropriated for military purposes. While Hewlett's original motivation was 100% therapeutic, the military sees Aaron's enhanced abilities as potential combat advantages. This shift from healing to harming illustrates how medical breakthroughs can be divorced from their humanitarian purposes. Aaron becomes a potential asset to be controlled rather than a patient to be healed. The film updates concerns about military medical experiments for contemporary audiences aware of ongoing debates about enhanced technologies and their military applications. Hybrid extends the familiar framework of organ transplantation to explore not just the physical rejection of the organ, but psychological and social rejection as well. The wolf eyes integrate with Aaron's visual system. They introduce entirely new ways of perceiving the world, but may be fundamentally incompatible with human psychology and social behavior. Through its nuanced portrayal of Dr. Hewlett's motivations, military exploitation of medical research, and Aaron's transformation, Hybrid presents a sophisticated examination of moral complexities when medicine pushes beyond established boundaries. Rather than condemning or celebrating scientific advancement, the film acknowledges both the genuine benefits that experimental medicine can provide and the serious risks it poses to individuals and to society as a whole. So, now let's talk about the SyFy Channel. This was originally known as the SyFy Channel, spelled differently, and is a cable television network dedicated to science fiction, fantasy, horror, and supernatural programming. Over its 3-decade history, the channel has been a niche destination for genre enthusiasts that has been both celebrated and has transformed the landscape of speculative fiction on television. The SyFy Channel launched on September 24th, 1992 as a joint venture between Paramount Pictures, Universal Studios, and USA Networks. The network emerged during the cable TV boom of the early 90s. Mitchell Rubinstein and Laurie Silvers, who had previously created the Horror Channel, conceived the idea for a 24-hour science fiction network. The channel's early programming strategy focused on classic science fiction series and films. Viewers could find reruns of beloved shows like The Twilight Zone, The Outer Limits, Lost in Space, and Star Trek. The network also featured classic B-movies and cult films, creating a haven for nostalgic genre fans who had previously struggled to find their favorite content on mainstream television. One early standout was Mystery Science Theater 3000, MST3K, which the network rescued from cancellation in 1993. The show became synonymous with the SyFy Channel's irreverent approach to genre programming and helped establish the network's following. During this foundational period, the channel also began experimenting with original programming. Shows like Sci-Fi Buzz, a news and interview program covering genre entertainment, helped establish the network as not just a repository for old content, but as an active participant in the science fiction community. In 1999, USA Networks acquired full control of the SyFy Channel, beginning a more aggressive expansion into original programming. Under the leadership of executives like Bonnie Hammer, the channel began investing more heavily in original series and miniseries. This period saw the launch of several landmark original series that defined the network for years to come. Farscape, a space opera featuring puppet work by Jim Henson's Creature Shop, demonstrated the network's commitment to innovation. The show garnered critical acclaim and a devoted fan base, establishing the channel as a legitimate producer of original science fiction content. The network also found success with miniseries adaptations of classic science fiction novels. Dune and Children of Dune, based on Frank Herbert's novels, showed that the channel could tackle prestigious literary properties with substantial production values. Stargate SG-1, while not originally produced by the SyFy Channel, became one of the network's flagship series when it moved there in 2002. In 2004, NBC Universal acquired the SyFy Channel as part of its purchase of Universal Entertainment. This change brought increased resources, allowing the network to expand its original programming slate significantly. The mid-2000s marked what many consider to be the channel's creative golden age. Battlestar Galactica, Ronald D. Moore's reimagining of the classic 70s series, premiered and immediately established itself as one of television's most critically acclaimed dramas. The show's complex storytelling, political allegory, and high production values proved that science fiction television could compete with the best programming on any network. Battlestar Galactica earned numerous awards and nominations, including Emmy and Peabody recognition, and attracted viewers far beyond the traditional science fiction audience. The channel's movie programming also evolved during this period, with the introduction of original made-for-TV movies. While many of these films were produced on modest budgets, they served the dual purpose of providing content and testing concepts that might be developed later into series. One controversial decision in the network's history came in July of 2009, when the SyFy Channel rebranded itself as SyFy. The name change was intended to create a marketable brand that could be trademarked, unlike the term sci-fi, and to broaden the network's appeal beyond traditional science fiction fans. The rebranding coincided with a shift in programming strategy under the leadership of David Howe and later Mark Stern. The network began incorporating more mainstream programming, including wrestling and reality shows. This strategy was designed to attract larger audiences and increase advertising revenue while decreasing production costs. It sparked criticism from longtime fans who felt the network was abandoning its core mission. Despite the rebrand controversy, this period saw the launch of several successful original series. Warehouse 13 was a blend of science fiction and adventure, while Eureka offered a lighter take on science fiction with its focus on a town populated by geniuses. Haven, based loosely on Stephen King's novella The Colorado Kid, maintained the network's commitment to supernatural programming. The network also found unexpected success with Sharknado in 2013, a deliberately campy made-for-TV movie that became a viral sensation and spawned multiple sequels. While critics dismiss the film's quality, its social media success demonstrated SyFy's ability to create cultural moments that transcend traditional television viewership. Under the leadership of Chris McCumber and later Francis Berwick, SyFy attempted to balance its commercial needs with its original mission to serve science fiction fans. This period has seen a renewed focus on high-quality scripted programming, while still maintaining the broader programming mix that emerged during the rebranding years. The Expanse, originally on SyFy before moving to Amazon Prime, represented the kind of prestigious science fiction programming that defined the network's earlier golden age. The series featured complex political narratives and realistic space travel, earning critical acclaim and a devoted fan base. Other notable recent series include 12 Monkeys, a television adaptation of Terry Gilliam's film, and The Magicians, based on Lev Grossman's novels. The network has also embraced international co-productions and acquisitions, bringing shows like Winona Earp, a Canadian-American co-production, and Killjoys, a Canadian series, to American audiences. This strategy allowed SyFy to offer more programming while managing production costs. Throughout its history, SyFy struggled with the fundamental tension between serving its core science fiction audience and attracting the broader viewership that it needs for commercial success. The network's most successful periods have generally coincided with times when it managed to produce programming that satisfied both constituencies. The channel's original movies, while often criticized for their low budgets and campy tone, have become a distinctive part of its brand identity. SyFy's impact on science fiction television extends beyond its own programming. By providing a dedicated platform for genre content, the network helped sustain interest in science fiction during periods when the major networks were largely ignoring it. Many creators who worked on SyFy series have gone on to create successful genre programming for other networks and streaming services. Like all traditional cable networks, SyFy faces significant challenges as it enters into its fourth decade on the streaming era. The rise of Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and other streaming services has created new competition for genre programming. Major streaming services now produce their own high-budget science fiction and fantasy series, often with resources that exceed what SyFy can offer. Looking forward, SyFy's challenge will be to maintain its relevance in a crowded media landscape while staying true to its core mission. The network's history of adapting to changing market conditions suggests it will continue to evolve. Still, ultimate success depends on its ability to balance commercial pressures with the creative vision that made it distinctive. The mainstream acceptance of science fiction and fantasy, demonstrated by the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Game of Thrones, suggests that there is still a significant audience for quality genre programming. The channel's legacy is secure as a crucial platform for science fiction television during a pivotal period in the genre's development. And whether it can maintain that relevance in the streaming age will determine its ultimate place in television history. So, if you like lycanthropes, like, share, and subscribe. Contribute your thoughts and additional observations in the comments below. Let me know what I missed or what you noticed. Next, I plan on discussing Audie and the Wolf from 2008. Keep your eye on the moon, a silver bullet in the chamber, and we'll see you back next episode.